1 second. Can you hear me? Oh, I can't hear you though. 1 second. Let's see. Oh, no, that seems to. Hi, Cliff.
Hi, Kalyn. Hi, Nish.
Oh, Anesh, I can hear Cliff, so that's a good sign at least, but I still can't hear you.
Okay, yeah, I can see your screen
Perfect.
clearly. Yeah, awesome, awesome. How are you, Kalyn?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you doing, Cliff?
I'm doing great. The day's coming to an end, so that's a plus as well.
Always a good sign, right? Made it to the end of another day.
Yeah. Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah. Well, and so for the attendance for this, will it primarily be those that are watching in their own time, so taking advantage of the recording, or do we think we might have a good number of people coming into the session?
Uh, Let me just have a look at those who have registered so far. Okay. Um, okay. Hi, Nish. Can you hear us?
He can
Okay.
hear us. That's a good sign,
This
at
is
least.
very funny. I can't. Something's wrong with my Teams. I can't check the event. Why?
Let's see.
Yeah, as in like attendees and everything. Anesh, are you at a position where you could see who signed up for the event?
I think he popped out for a moment, probably to check on his
Okay.
audio.
Okay, so we haven't started the event yet because we're still in the green room. This is just for the presenters.
Oh, okay. So I see a thing that
Yeah.
says end event. Um,
Oh,
I don't.
oh, oh, sorry, we are live. Yeah, okay. We are live.
Okay.
Let me see. Um, so we are live. I can see it's recording and transcribing, which means we're not in the green room anymore.
Okay, good.
So at the moment, then there's just me, yourself, and Dinesh.
Can you guys hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Loud
Fantastic.
and clear. Perfect.
Here you go.
Yeah.
Jesus, I was screaming on the other side and then you guys cannot hear me. Here you go.
Technology always creates some good challenges.
It
So, Anesh,
is.
I think the question was, will most people be taking advantage of the recording
Grant.
after, or will we wait another moment for anyone that might be popping in?
We'll give 3 more minutes probably.
Okay.
I'll give a broadcast on the other side of the house. So let's see how who else gonna join for this one.
Okay.
So Cliff, will you be able to ping on the groups as well? We are
Okay,
online.
perfect. And then,
Okay, yeah, let me do that.
Thank you.
um, and then just as a reminder, I have a hard stop at 5 o'clock, so
Grant.
I'll keep it concise with the information.
Thank you so much. Um, I'll ping your voice out of the house as well. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, I think probably in 5 minutes we can start in about five.
Yeah. Do you start recording, Cliff?
Yeah, it automatically started recording when we started. So Kalyn, I think considering that for the time being it's just myself and Anesh,
Mm-hmm.
we can take a very light overview of what the program is, how we as the chapter can support you going forward, and then we will arrange one with a wider audience,
Mm-hmm.
where you can then come back in and give a more in depth for the chapter members.
Yeah,
Um, I think
absolutely.
considering the turnaround that we had of doing the posters and communicating to the members, we might have missed, getting on people's calendars for this week.
Fair, fair. I know it's a busy time for most
Yeah.
people anyway. So, certainly. So I'm happy to talk through the program kind of lightly here to just give you a good understanding of the overarching program and then what the opportunities are to get involved within that. And so firstly, I'm the
Yeah.
mentoring for equality project manager. So I run all of our mentoring efforts, our industry engagement at the time being within the STEM Passport for Inclusion. And the STEM Passport for Inclusion, what we are is we're an education ultimately an education research program based within academia, but we take a multi-pronged approach where we engage in knowledge sharing I'll talk about it in just a moment, via delivering a level 6 education to under-resourced, particularly under-resourced young women, but under-resourced students across the island. But we also work with what we call a pathways approach where we engage with industry, and we also have a skills kind of acquisition model where we're providing hands-on skills and work experience opportunities for these young people to help overcome the gap or the barriers that they might face coming from under-resourced backgrounds. And ultimately, even though we focus on STEM education, and we focus particularly at the moment on this intersection of under-resourced students, students from under-resourced backgrounds, and particularly young women, our goal at large is to ensure that every student, irrespective of social class or condition, leaves school fully capable to engage in all education and employment opportunities. So we really see a lot of power in going to those that are the most at risk or most at need first, and then expanding from there. And some of the greatest opportunities for us to make impact are to work in under-resourced communities and to work with young women. However, our program is continuing to expand to individuals that might have further barriers, whether they have a disability, whether they have some learning difficulties, if the mainstream school education system has not worked for them, or they have any other kinds of challenges. We're working to continue to expand these opportunities for young people. But what we do overall is we have a three-pronged approach where during secondary school, and in particular during transition year, we work over the course of 3 days to deliver an immersive STEM education experience to young people across the country. And the individuals that engage in this program, complete the program and all related assignments, achieve a level 6 STEM qualification, a university level qualification while still in secondary school. And so when we think about the Irish Wheel of Education, the Leaving Cert is a level 5. And so they're able to go above and beyond that and be able to kind of hang their hat on their ability to engage in university level work while still in secondary school, while they're at that critical junction in their transition year where they're starting to think about what higher level courses they might be going for and what Leaving Certs they might want to take. Now, a key component of this as well is that during their STEM education days, they have an opportunity to engage in an hour of mentorship. And so this is an opportunity, especially individuals from under-resourced backgrounds, where these young people have role models in their communities, but they might just not be someone who has worked in industry or worked in a STEM profession. So we're bringing in industry mentors to engage with them, to build rapport, to relate to them, to give them new insights, and really to be that person or that opportunity, that role model that shows these young people that they too can see themselves in a type of position, whether it's in industry more broadly or something STEM specific, something like cybersecurity as well, where they might be able to succeed themselves. And then likewise, if they complete all aspects of the program, not only do they achieve this level 6 qualification, but within the universities that are partnered with STEM Passport, they can receive between 50 to 60 Leaving Cert points on top of their Leaving Cert scores to apply towards STEM related courses at those universities. Now, that's not every university in Ireland, not yet, but it is within Maynooth University, Munster Technological University, which are the founding partners, university partners as it is with the STEM Passport for Inclusion program. We've since brought on Atlantic Technological University that's helped us reach the west and northwest of the island. We've brought on Technological University of Dublin that's coming on board in 2025, the September of 2025, Technological University of the Shannon, and we've actually bridged over into the north as well. We're bringing on Queen's in Belfast. And so over time, over the next couple of years, when we look at our strategic cycles and the way that we operate, we've got our next cycle is 2025 to 2027, and we're looking at making sure that all of our students are able to avail of those 50 to 60 Leaving Cert points across all the universities, the established universities and the ones that are onboarding with the program. Now, the students, when they go through these 3 immersive days, they've got 3 lab days that are facilitated by our academic leads within the STEM Passport program. They have additional online modules that support their independent learning, and they do assignments. And now these are university level that they're engaging in while in transition year, but they are well able to meet and excel oftentimes when it comes to delivering this content and this curriculum back to us. We've seen more than a 70% pass rate, which is something that we want to be able to continue even as our program expands. And they're getting experience with things like coding, AI, data analytics, but also they're being asked to develop other key skills for engaging well in industry, thinking like presentation skills, being able to collaborate, work in teams, and also engage in design thinking. Now, as we move beyond 2024, 2025 program year that's just wrapped up in the last couple of weeks, and we look towards our planning for 2025 through 2027, we're looking at expanding our program reach. As mentioned, we started with young women, particularly under-resourced young women, but we've reached out to include boys as well. We did have a couple of pilots where we even had a mixed cohort. Some people mentored young boys and young girls together. Going forward, we've identified better opportunities for both the young girls and the young boys to have them in the program, but actually they'll be mentored separately in the future. So there are mentors that might, for example, want to primarily mentor young women, but there are some that might want to mentor the young men, and we can facilitate both of those opportunities. We've also reached out to Youth Reach, and if you're familiar or not familiar, Youth Reach is for early school leavers who have exited formal education because the mainstream schooling system did not work for them for one reason or another, but it's a pathway for them to come back to education and to fruitful future career opportunities. We're looking at moving beyond transition year, so we want to create a pipeline that helps carry these young people from their transition year in secondary school through their Leaving Certs into higher level education or into the other education pathways that will support them in attaining a career that's really what the ideal of success for them, whether that be in STEM, something STEM adjacent, or another type of position. But we're building out a 5th year and 6th year program. 5th year is going to be AI and data science. 6th year is looking at engineering to better support the full array of kind of STEM topics that these young people can potentially take next steps in. And then we're investing in a work experience program as well. And so we have a target to supply 1,000 of our students over the next 2 years with targeted work experience within or amongst our industry partners. And so the plan is to broaden our reach. Previously, we had goals and set targets to work with 5,000 girls from 2023 to 2025. We exceeded that target. We've now expanded to 7,000 TY students, 6,000 girls, at least 1,000 boys, and in particular, the boys that we're focusing on are Leaving Cert applied, seeing as there's a lot of stigma sometimes around those that choose that pathway to facilitate the culmination of their secondary school education. We're looking to expand our education partnerships, which when we identified this target, we actually had only brought on one additional university. It was TU Dublin, but we've also brought on TUS and Queen's. So we're looking to further expand our opportunities and reach across the island within the university sector. We're developing the TY work experience, and we're also looking at these follow-up training days and looking at how we can further expand them not only to our TY students, but to our other cohorts as well. When we look at other ways to expand, we want to go beyond just TYs, just secondary school students. We are looking to expand our youth reach engagement to 300 students, and we are also starting to work with Women's Collective Ireland. Women's Collective Ireland is our only cohort currently that is not just adolescents. We're looking at women who are female, it's female lone parents. And so there are some that could fall into this category that would be adolescents still and in their formative education years, but we're looking really across the lifespan in the working world, the working kind of lifespan for women that are female lone parents. We're looking at establishing a pathway across the universities so that students can avail of university engagement, not only in the university that they're registered with for the purposes of the STEM Passport program, but also if they choose to go, to engage in some more mobility and move across the country, they can avail of similar supports within the STEM Passport track and program. And then we're looking at better longitudinally tracking our students. This program only launched in 2021. It was a small pilot. We do have some students that have progressed to third level, but our first cohort that is in mass progressing to third level is the 2023-2024 cohort, and they are going to be starting their third level for those that are choosing that route this coming autumn. So we're looking at pathways for us to track them and really be able to measure the impact long term of the engagement with the program. Now, as mentioned, the best way for industry to get involved is through that role model opportunity or through our work experience, but in particular for individuals within industry to get involved, it's via our Mentoring for Equality program. And what this pathway looks like is an opportunity to engage in training and then develop kind of dedicated skills and supports to become a mentor and then directly mentor a cohort of young people throughout the next 6 to 8 months of time. Now, the actual mentorship does not start until September, and it'll go from September to December, and then we have another cohort that will run from February to April. But from the time points that someone registers their interest, and we're doing our recruitment kind of right around this time of the year as we wrap up the 2024-2025 program year and look at the summer where we can prepare and plan. This is where mentors can really express their interest in getting involved. They can take advantage of a 5-hour mentoring for equality training. This 5-hour training is required. It delivers resources on how to mentor effectively, how to mentor specifically for young people. Resources that are available because we don't just expect an individual to rock up and entertain young people for the duration of their session. There's an entire toolkit that mentors are able to take with them to support conversations and key learnings both for themselves and the mentees. There is a 1-hour TUSLA certification. This is a child safeguarding certification that's required by the Higher Education Authority. It's something that's done on an individual's own time. It's asynchronous. It's done virtually. And so someone can start and stop as many times as they need. And once a mentor has completed those two components, the 5-hour training, the 1-hour TUSLA, they're ready to then mentor and take on a group that they can commit to in the autumn. Now, what that then looks like is an additional 9 to 10 hours. And so ultimately, what an individual can expect to invest as far as their time from their registration through engagement with their first mentee group is about 15 hours of their time, 6 of which is training related, and the other 9 is related to the actual active mentoring. And so each session is 1 hour in length, but I do always ask that our mentors give themselves and the young people about 15 minutes on either end. There's a little bit of legwork to maybe refresh on the resources, add any additional resources, personalize the material, etc., in advance of the session, then host the session over the course of an hour, and then give themselves about 15 minutes thereafter to decompress, reflect before they then jump in to whatever they have next in their afternoon. And so for each hour that an individual mentors, there's another 30 minutes there added in. And so I ask for about 4.5 hours of time to support the dedicated 3 learning days that these young people go through. But there's also 1 additional hour that I ask for, and that is as a when it comes to working with industry, we all have busy calendars. We all commit and mean what we say when we say, hey, we're going to be here for this group. But things happen, like meetings get dropped onto our calendar that we can't move. We have a fender bender on the way to work, or we have a sick kid at home, those sorts of things. And so because there are of those inevitable elements of daily life, we have a calendar of substitutes. And we ask that all of our mentors that engage with the program sign up for 1 additional hour that they can act as a substitute or a cover in the event that someone else has to drop out last minute. And what that then provides is someone who can step in and be on call But it also means that if you as a mentor ever are in that kind of predicament yourself, you don't ever have to stress. You can just let us know and say, hey, I need a cover. Can someone else please do that? So it helps our mentoring community really support each other and our young people effectively. And so that brings us in total to about 6 hours of mentoring time and mentoring kind of support time. And then there's 3 additional hours of what we refer to as mentor reflection. So each time you have a mentoring session, you will also be offered the option to sit down with myself or one of my team, as well as the other mentors that have engaged in mentoring around the same time period that you did, where we can give feedback, receive feedback, and share and exchange ideas. It's a really great networking and community building opportunity for our mentors. So that's an opportunity for continued growth, development, and a way for mentors to feel more confident and capable as they continue to engage with the program. Now, if a group, or if a mentor rather, ever decides that they want to continue after their first engagement, their first group of mentees has completed, they can do that, and we only ask for an additional 9 hours every time because you will not continue to need to do the 5-hour training or the TUSLA each and every time. That's just a one-time ask for that 5-hour training, and the TUSLA certification is good for 3 years. And so that lift for the spring term or the following autumn would be a little bit lighter overall. So that's just a quick high-level glimpse of what the opportunities are, what's kind of expected and how to engage. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer those for you.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much, Kalyn, for giving us this brilliant presentation. Hope I'm audible.
You are, you are.
Thank you so much. The next point is, I've been part of this one for a long time, to be honest, with I think Katrina O'Sullivan, who took the initiative first of all. So I was there for probably 1.5 years or 2, I'm not sure. It was really brilliant. So the first cohort I've dealt with the girls from Cavan. It's really nice to deal with them. So they have a different experience altogether. And some of the girls were explaining they want to be a hairdresser or something else, nothing related to STEM at all. And then our goal is to explain about what STEM and then really put the value on top of the table and show what are the avenues that they can go through if you come into the STEM and these kind of different paths altogether. Is this still the 3 main workshops that we are conducting with them? The building the robot is the final one, and the very first one is the icebreaker. Is that the same structure, or is it been changed at the moment?
Yeah, no, great question, Ash. I think it's good to kind of get the experience of someone who has done the program before. And yes, so the current structure is ultimately, and something that I'm doing to add to the supports for the mentors is give you a good understanding as a mentor what the objective of each session is, because there are 3 in total. Yes, we work with very STEM specific individuals across industry, but actually we invite anyone. So across your companies, for example, anyone that is interested in maybe they're in a non-STEM specific role, they're still welcome to engage in the mentorship because the purpose is not specifically to hit home the training components of what is STEM, although that's helpful. It's more about building rapport with the young people. So being an adult who's not their mom, their auntie, their teacher, a disciplinarian in some form or fashion, showing interest in investing in them and saying, hey, let's be curious together. What are you interested in? Why are you interested in it? Even, for example, a student that would come forward and say, I'm interested in becoming a hairdresser. It's, do they even have an understanding of where STEM exists in the world of beauty? There's chemistry in hair dye. There's engineering in the different, like the hair dryers, the different solutions that they use. And so where can you give them an appreciation of the elements of STEM that underpin our everyday and open their eyes and hopefully inspire them to keep the doors open for themselves as far as what their STEM careers or potential could look like in the future.
100%.
Yeah, and so the first one is just the rapport building, kind of investigating maybe some role models that they could have in addition to yourselves that are in STEM type positions that they might be interested or they might know about. The second one is one that gets them thinking a little bit more about career specific things. You have opportunities to investigate different education pathways with them, where they might want to go, how they might want to get there. There's a great exercise, like you mentioned, of building a robot, and this is getting them thinking about prompt engineering, some other things like that that are guided through the exercises. And then the third and final session is actually about leadership and seeing themselves, leadership potential within themselves. And it also is leading up to, at the end of their 3 days, these young people present a tech-based solution or a STEM-based solution to a real-world problem, looking through the lens of the Sustainable Development Goals. And so oftentimes it's their first time presenting, or they might not be very comfortable presenting. And so it's an opportunity for the mentors as well to impart their knowledge, their experience, to kind of, in some ways, even maybe commiserate or just recognize like presenting's hard, regardless of how many times you've done it or how old you are. So what advice can you give them? Can you practice an elevator pitch with them? Those sorts of things, so that you're imparting relevant skills, and they really can feel that investment that you've given to them in the hour that you're there together. And so that's the kind of a quick insight into the course of those 3 sessions.
Perfect. Brilliant. My next question is around like, how do we join hands now? So as a chapter, so I know this is maybe a very, very small representation from the chapter as well. So what we would like to know is, we do have our huge workforce, which is coming behind us as well as part of the Dublin chapter. We started very new in Ireland. And then we would like to see how we can join hands with the STEM program, and then how we can excel from point A to point B.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say first and foremost, it would be through the mentoring program. So allowing yourselves, selecting a time and opportunity that you can be trained on these critical perspectives of mentoring, and not just mentoring, but mentoring from this equality lens, engaging in that way. And then we can start to look at where the other pathways and opportunities are. There education avenues that can be supported specifically by your chapter? Are there opportunities within your companies, whether it's for dedicated work experience or further mentorship? What do those types of things look like? How can you be champions for that, not only within your chapter, but within your respective companies as well, so that we can broaden the reach and kind of that mentoring community extending out from the chapter? I think could be a really great place to start from, and then think about how we go forward from there.
Perfect. I know you have a hard stop at 5. Sorry about this. So just
That's okay.
one small question on this one. So do you have a link or anything that we can register through as the chapter member, so we can fill it on? This is the ISC2 lads who's coming through the ISC2, and then these are from different companies, so we don't bother about the companies at the moment, but they can be from any industry specific area who's supporting on this one. I see Evelyn on the panel as well. So hey, Evelyn, how are you?
I'm sorry for the delay in coming in on that, just particularly if you have a hard stop at 5. So I'm a former colleague of Anesh's.
Oh, not a worry, not a worry. Well, glad to have you here. So what I'm doing, Anesh, actually, I'll drop it in the chat if that's okay. I've got the
Fantastic.
registration link here, and there's a place where it says, what company are you involved with, but feel free to put the chapter as well as your company, or whichever you're more comfortable putting there for registration purposes. But what the steps are here is, we'll capture your information within the registration form. I will then send out a welcome email that gives you the opportunities for when we've got training upcoming. And so we've got a couple of half-day opportunities. It is a 5-hour training, right? So we have a number of ways it's accessible for a lot of people is by splitting it up into like 2.5-hour blocks, or sometimes it's a 3 and a 2-hour block. We do have some full-day trainings if it's easier to just kind of get in, knock it out over 5.5 hours or so with a 30-minute lunch and get that done with. But we also have some evening sessions coming up towards the later part. It's about a month from now. So towards the end of June, we have some evening sessions for those that would actually be more interested in doing the training outside of their working hours. So a couple options there. We are trying to wrap up our training through the month of June, but we might have some additional opportunities into the early part of July. Most of those will be in-person sessions at some of our company partners. So that's just some things to keep in mind, and things that I would share out in that welcome email.
Perfect. So we have our roadmap now. So we'll hit the road then.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you, Anesh. Thank you, everyone. I look forward to engaging with all of you, hopefully in the coming months, and to see you at one of our upcoming trainings.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the fantastic presentation, and have a good evening.
Thanks. Have a good evening, everyone.
Cheers then.